And we're live? I don't know why the cameras aren't on, but we are live. I'll work on that.
Okay. Great. All right. Hey, everyone. Impromptu 12 minutes spoiler cast. This is basically your last moment. If you have not played 12 minutes, you should leave. You should stop listening to this right now. Been warned. Here we go. He's her brother.
Yeah.
Let's go around the room first, though. Obviously, this is top-down perspective. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
I'm Christopher Brown.
Yeah, Chris is a friend of mine. Fans of the show will recognize Chris as the guy I call my co-op buddy, who I play everything with.
So we played 12 minutes together.
Played 12 minutes together. Yeah, I was the brother. He played the sister wife. Stabbed him a few times. I'm still coming in so quiet.
Oh, you sound fun on my end.
Test. That's a lot better. There we go. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna deep dive into 12 minutes, a point-and-click adventure game from I don't know the studio.
It's developed by a guy named Louis Antonio or whatever, but it's Annapurna is how everybody knows it.
Published by Annapurna, developed by William Defoe.
Yep, that's true.
And I think we should just go around the room, give a thumbs up, an audio thumbs up or a thumbs down on if you like this game. I can start. No, I came across being like, nah.
Sure. I'm more positive on it, but with caveats that we'll talk about. I'll say I've played worse before, or in this year even. It's definitely not like a Game of the Year contender in any way, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the concept. I was hoping it would be amazing, but it just ended up being very disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would say a thumbs up on it. There was enough there that I liked, but yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend it. And I don't know how much it costs, but if I didn't get it in Game Pass, might feel a little ripped off there.
That's an interesting way to put it, because I would also give it a thumbs up, but would not recommend it to somebody. That's actually a good way.
You're gonna like it.
Yeah.
This game is a 25 American.
A decent sale, I think. If you could get this for like 10 to 15 bucks, I think that's golden. Over 20 seems kind of crazy to me personally for this, but
I would recommend the first 2 hours of this game, and then I think you should stop.
Okay, so
if it was shorter,
it's very specifically like the story for you that really got it. Yeah. Okay, mine's more mechanical.
Well,
I think this game plays like shit.
I have problems with the story, and I have problems with with a lot of the mechanics, and how they want you to go about that game.
Yeah,
that just like, and then because the story I feel is so bad, it's like, why am I going through this hassle to see what is going to be a complete disappointment?
Okay, sure.
But no, like Chris said it earlier, like the execution is bad, but the concept is very cool.
Yeah.
It only really gets bad near the end of the game. You know, I thought for a while leading up to the end, I was on board. I was intrigued by where it was going. And then it's just that final twist that kind of flushes it all down the toilet.
Oh, okay. See, I'll tell you the exact moment it lost me. It's where you learn about how you're going to get the cop on your side with the picture. And then I had the picture. I was like, okay, cool. I'll pick up the picture. And then this loop, we got it. And then she's like, it's on the fridge. He's like, there ain't no picture here or whatever. And then it's like, oh, great, I failed. So
James McAvoy is just chasing behind him. Sir, please.
Yeah.
Like, shut up.
And then he kills you every time that you try to talk to him. So that sucks. So I was like, okay, I got to leave it there. And then I do that. And then they're talking. It's like, okay, like this is all going good. Cool. I think we're about to see the end. Oh, if only I could remember her name. Something flowery. Oh, I got it. Wait. No, too late. We got to do that whole loop again. I have it ready this time. I try to give it to him early, and he tells me to shut up or he's going to kill me. So I'm like, when am I supposed to give you... What is the exact millisecond that I can give you this thing between I need to remember her name, okay, whatever, I'm out, so I don't have to do this loop again. And that is a part that just drove me crazy. That I couldn't stand it after that part. I was so mad.
I mean, I had a similar experience to that, but it was specifically when I was calling his daughter on the phone, the cop's daughter, where I was so close to just getting through all of the dialogue options, but then it hit the 10 minutes, and I got reset to the beginning again, and I was like, so I have to do this entire thing again to ask one more question.
Yep.
You know, it's funny. I had a very similar thing, but it was me on hold with the health insurance. I knew I was close. They were gonna pick up, but then the 10-minute mark hit, and it was like, God damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a darker moment there where I ended up taking out both the wife and the cop so I could stay on hold as long as possible to see if anything would happen. It was like no interruptions.
Yeah.
That's another kind of letdown. So, like, it's a point-and-click adventure game, and typically, you know, there's a bit of humor and kind of zaniness that comes along with that genre in terms of, like, you know, just the whole concept of I'm going to take this item and just mash it against this thing and see if something happens.
Yeah.
Easy enough to put a joke in there. There's, like, no real silly gags or anything throughout any of this. And there's tons of opportunities for it, because, like, even with the phone call, like, they let you sit on the phone over and over, and they keep asking you, like, do you want to stop? Do you want to keep going? It's like, this is video games 101. If I keep going, there's gonna be a reward here or something, and there's just not.
Yeah. I feel like there are a lot of moments like that.
Putting a waterfall in your video game and then not putting something behind that waterfall, it's like, what are you even doing?
Yep. No, I agree with you.
I think that's the most... Yeah, it's the most confusing part about this game is it feels like it took so long to come out, but there's so little to actually do in the game.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's the time you take to add in your Easter eggs or your dumb little jokes there, but it's just such a small game.
Or, like, even tightening up how the lines are delivered and how they trigger and mesh together. Like, it's very easy to see where those seams are, where, oh, this is obviously where that .wave file was cut. Then the next one plays, and yeah, it's kind of weird.
There's a kind of a weird thing with how the dialogue works, because I think the performances are pretty good.
Yeah,
like,
they're fine.
In fact, I like Daisy Ridley, I can just barely tell. James McAvoy, I never would have even been able to guess. Chris, I know you thought it was
Elijah Woods.
Elijah Wood. So he doesn't sound anything like himself. William Defoe is just playing William Defoe. But that's fine.
Is he trying to mispronounce some things? I think it was a prank call. Like, I don't know, just the inflection of every line he gives is like, no normal person says that word with that inflection in that sentence. What are you doing?
Willem Dafoe costs money, and he's not going to do a second take for free.
That's probably.
So you'll get into some scenarios where you're like, okay, I need to get to like the 5-minute mark so that the cop shows up.
Yeah.
But in this first one, I need to like talk to my wife about something upsetting, and she's at the point where she's crying, and it's like, okay, well, I can sit here while she keeps saying, "You're gonna say something," or I can go take a nap in the bed for 1.5 minutes, real quick.
Yeah.
And just like narratively, that's the most insane thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like you guys didn't want to write anything about this, like, or you'll be like talking to her, and then you'll get in the closet, and she'll just be like, "You're acting weird now. He's doing some weird stuff," and then I guess you just sit in the closet for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so mechanical, and then I feel like it just kind of breaks down in those scenarios.
Oh, totally. It totally does.
You know, I play a lot of visual novels. A good chunk of them have dealt with weird time loops and replaying sections to like get the answer. And they give you a flow chart. And they give you a flow chart to select, I would like to go to this point before things break off so that I can redo it. I got the info I need. Now this part lit up. Let me go there, yada, yada, yada. This game desperately needs that. I think I would be fine with everything and just be like, the story kind of sucked, but, you know, I enjoyed going through it. Is if it had a way to, like, let me set myself back to the 5-minute mark, or, you know, be able to see it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, just to go back to your point a little bit, it would have been nice if they had fun little weird Easter egg moments. Like, there's a lot of things where you try something and your character literally just says, no, I can't do that, or there's no point to do that. Like, he just gives you a canned line of dialogue of, this isn't going to do something, which is basically like this game's version of the Doom guy going, ugh, when he tries to open a wall or something. Like, it's just stupid. And there's like cool things you can like take the sleeping pills, and I for some reason thought that might do something, and of course it just starts to loop over again. But like, why not add something fun in there, or like these weird little things that you can do if you just do something completely stupid, like take sleeping pills in a 12-minute loop. I don't know.
All right, I didn't take the sleeping pills. I never even thought about it.
You just sleep. Yeah, I thought maybe it would do something cool, and it just started to loop over again. I was like, oh, of course. What? Why wouldn't it?
I liked when I put the sleeping pills in the thing in front of her and gave it to her. Or like the other times too, when you can have the phone call while she's in the room, where you call the cop's daughter and let her know what's going on with her dad, and just her like kind of stunned reaction to you being like, oh, your dad's coming to kill us, but he doesn't know the whole truth about my wife's like murdering her father. And she's just like,
that's
what?
weird. So you're saying you can put the sleeping pills in the thing in front of her? She won't.
I swear I did it, yeah, and she didn't comment on it.
No, mine was definitely just like, no, sorry, I'm not tired right now. Like, anytime I would
maybe she didn't see me or something.
Yeah, because I know, like you said, if you do like the phone calls or something in front of her, or if you like go down to get like the watch and the door's open, she'll be like, I don't know what you're doing, but I can't deal with it. I can't even be in the room with you right now if you're gonna be unscrewing vents in front of me, and we'll just walk away. And it's like, what?
She gets real persnickety about it for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the biggest bummer, is that you realize pretty quickly everything in this game is mechanically pushing you just towards their twist and their ending. Whether that means just not having fun little moments that you can really do in between, or belaboring when you're close to the end, belaboring the like you getting to that point by making you do this like do a loop to find out one piece of info. Oh, now I screwed up. Do the loop again to find out one piece of info, and you're doing like literally 10 minutes worth of work every time to find out one new line that'll open something. Like the first time you learn the word monster and like that triggers something, then you have to do a loop again to get to kind of a similar point in time so that you can do the picture. And then another, like at that point it's just like, okay, now you're just trying to make your game longer by forcing me to do bullshit, and that sucks. That's really when for me I was just like, I need to just get this done now. I'm tired of this.
The part I broke at when it came to the mechanics is there's definitely a moment where you have to kind of get information from your wife and from William Defoe kind of back and forth. So it's like, okay, I got to go through the loop where I talk to her.
Yep.
And then I got to go through the loop where I knock her out, and I knock him out, and then I talk to him, and then I got to go, and you have to go like 4 times. And it's like, oh my God.
And before that, it's cool. You figuring out, okay, this thing is going to like knock anybody on their ass when they try to do it. Maybe I can get the cop to do it. Like, there's really good building blocks there of, this is a really cool Groundhog Day style like adventure game that they got here. And then it just kind of doesn't go further with that. And it almost feels like the point you're talking about, where I have to talk to her and then him back and forth, and then it builds to the end, is like, we have to get this game out, guys. Let's just like try to force a way so that the player will get there. We're running out of money or something. And yeah, it is a bummer for sure, because it starts off really strong.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely got to a point where it was just giving you fail states, and it just felt like you said, a bunch of ways to kind of make the game seem longer somehow. And one of them was when I have the cop, you know, I had drugged the wife, I had zapped the cop using the light switch.
Yep.
And then I had tied him up on the ground and taken all his stuff.
Yeah.
And then he starts talking to you, and he's like, oh, maybe we can work together, untie me, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I cut off the ties, let him stand up, and then he just goes, you took all my stuff. and then just punches me and takes me out after that.
Yep.
And it was like, great. So yeah, I guess I have to do this whole cycle again and not take all his stuff this time.
Yeah, be very
just
specific
tiring.
in which things you take. Yeah, it for sure. And Chris, you had asked me, so I guess I'll bring this to Paul. Is there anything you can do when you get tied up besides getting punched out if you stand up?
So here's the thing, is that you can't do anything to the cop that isn't the exact triggers of torturing him to get certain stuff the first time, and then depending what ending you want, if you want to get like that coward ending, you can just like do exactly what he says, and then it'll loop again. But like, no, even if you get the drop on him, which I tried once with a knife while he was talking to my wife, you stab him like once or like swing at him. I don't know if you even hit him really. And then he just punches you out and it's over again. So literally nothing you can do matters except for the like 3 trigger points with him.
Yeah, like I almost wonder, like I'm trying to remember back. If you get into a state where you are tied up, is there ever a point or a reason to not just restart the loop?
No.
Because I don't think you get any information. Because like the first time you ever do it and you think, oh, she's about to say where the watch is, and it cuts there, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think anything ever happens. Like if you get tied up, I don't think you get any information. You can't stand up. So it's like, why even waste the time tying me up? Just punch me out. Like let's save each other 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I just kind of hate how the game controls. Like I just think it feels bad. There is that too.
Is it a point and click adventure game?
Yeah, but it was more that you couldn't queue up actions, so you had to wait for an animation to play through before you did the next thing, even though by the time you're doing your 7th or 8th loop or whatever, it's very much, okay, I'm doing this and this and this and this. I wish I could just like click the cup and then the water, but I have to wait for him to pick up the cup before I'm able to like use the water on it or the pills, etc., etc.
Yeah, and I even was hoping it would be a direct control type of system where you just walk up to, let's say, the kitchen table, and then, you know, there's Y above one of the cups, B above one of the other ones, and then you just click that to do it. But instead, especially on console, it just takes so long to just drag the cursor over it using the stick. It just is frustrating.
I played this on PC, so I didn't have that problem, but I could see that being annoying on console, yeah.
I mean, I don't think I ever ran into a scenario where I was like, I gotta do these actions really fast or I'm gonna screw up.
Oh, no. I just wanted to do it fast so I could get to the next part. I was getting impatient.
Yeah, see, I think, like, queuing up the actions, I'm trying to think, like, I haven't seen an adventure game that lets you do that. But then again, I feel like that's a hyper-specific request for this game because of the looping mechanic. Because in a typical adventure game, you're not going to do the same thing 100 times.
Totally.
You want to see what plays out if I put this, like, you know, wrench on the bolts or whatever, yada yada.
Totally.
But here it's like, I know what's going to happen, and I need to just get going. Like, please. So I think it's more, you don't want the like a queue system. You want to be able to like rewind time 30 seconds. You want that flow chart. Yeah,
I was gonna say, or like your like chapter select essentially, or flow chart select, where okay, I want to just jump right to the part where the cop comes. Like I don't care about the intro with the wife. I just need information here, right now. That would have been cool.
And you could even keep it narratively working by just having it almost fast forward to 30 seconds before where you were last time, right? And it's just you assume that the character did the same actions as last time.
Yeah.
I do think it would be cool if, like, on the triggers, if you're using a controller, you could just like scrub through the full 10 minutes. It's like, hey, I'm gonna scrub back 30 seconds. Like, that would be cool. I'm sure that would be real hard to program if you were not planning to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely have been a pretty cool thing, and it would have gone with the whole, like, you know, movie motif that they're kind of going for.
There's even an in-game narrative device in the pocket watch itself, like, where when you find out that exists, that pocket watch actually will travel you to a specific point in time later. Like, why not just make it so that at any point I could just, like, set the time to 6 minutes and then wait 10 seconds and then it just, like, fast forwards to there or something. Like, there, you have a device in there already that kind of does the thing I want.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. It would have been cool. I wonder if that was ever, like, an idea that they wanted to get done.
and couldn't.
So like you said, they're like so close to it.
They are.
And then maybe they had to cut that. It is weird. Chris, you had pointed out like the quick look that Giant Bomb has.
Oh, right.
And so for those who don't know, Giant Bomb has a quick look EX, which is where the developers sit in on the quick look. And it's from like 2015 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
The game looks almost identical. It obviously visually looks nicer, but in terms of like kind of what you're doing and the space, it looks almost identical. I would love to know what took 6 years for this 4-hour game that doesn't have a ton of like little branching paths and goofy gags and tons of different endings. It has pretty much like one ending.
Yeah, I mean, it feels bad to kind of use the lazy developer rhetoric because, you know, I don't know what they were doing with their time, but it definitely doesn't feel like 7 years worth of work or 5 years worth of work went into it after that quick look. So I just don't know what they were doing with all their time on this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to imply they were lazy. I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure it was difficult. There was something they had to get right, and it took that long. I would just love to know what, like, what exactly took.
It's definitely not lazy. It's definitely either they didn't like build it at the beginning with what they had planned scope wise, or like, I don't know, they're amateurish at. They have ideas in here that I think would take a AAA studio some time to get done properly, even. And I think this is what, 5 people. Like, it's a small team.
I mean, maybe just all the permutations too of all the different options and everything you can tell to someone at the start of a run or a loop that just makes it like into 1,000 different possibilities that I'm just not seeing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like this game doesn't have so many permutations. Like, there's a bunch of stuff where you just goes, I'm not going to do that. There's no reason to do that now. There's no weird gags or offshoots or anything like that. And like, I look at stuff like, you know, the Telltale Adventure games of late, and they got tons of branching narrative stuff. They were putting those out every 6 months or so. And I know, you know, around that time, Telltale got up to like a 300-person studio. This is definitely not that. But even like the first Walking Dead, when it was real smaller, like they seemed like they were pulling off, you know, narrative branches at a much quicker pace. Yeah. Like maybe it hit 2017 and they hadn't finished the story, and it took 4 years to get that brother concept in there. And they were like, this is incredible.
I have some info here. I'll just quickly read off if like this is kind of interesting. So it's all made essentially by that Luis Antonio guy. Like, he's the developer that's named, and I think this is his thing. He premiered the game at 2015 PAX East, using placeholder art and having the gameplay loop like completely kind of done or whatever. That's probably when the Giant Bomb thing took place, around that time or shortly thereafter. He had planned for it to be released the next year in 2016. However, he brought in a team of 5 to help refine it, and he was also given the support from Annapurna in that time. So because of that, they reshowed it in the Microsoft press conference with a planned release for 2020. And among final elements to be included were fully voiced lines, main characters, improved animations using motion capture, so both things take time and money. As he finalized the game's design, he took a reductionist approach, removing gameplay elements to focus on the essentials he wanted. So that's a little disappointing to see that it could have been more, but he wanted it to go this way. For example, it has... It's
not surprising, because, like, and I mentioned this to both of you, it teaches you can combine items,
and it doesn't use it.
The only thing you ever combine is the pills in the water cup.
Yep.
You don't combine a single other item. So I have to imagine some of the stuff he cut out was more combinations.
I mean, there's an example here. For example, Antonio originally had timepieces within the game world for the player to anticipate when events would happen, but he removed these, leaving it up for the player to follow on conversations and other cues for when events were to happen and prepare for them. I think that was even cut down even more to one event, and that's the cop coming. Really?
I mean, I wonder, like, the game feels, I just wonder if with many more items that if they threw those into the apartment, it would just get way more frustrating than it can already feel.
Yeah.
If you have to start trying like a bunch of stuff that has no use.
Totally.
And seeing if that works.
Yep. You don't want more items.
The ideal scenario would be like they give you all these items, more and more items, and they have different combinations, and some lead to, dead ends, some don't. But there's a bunch of different ways that bring you back to a certain point, which is maybe like the 5-minute mark, and then it kind of spreads out again and brings it, like, that would be the ideal scenario, as opposed to,
Yeah.
you got to find the one combination. Whereas no, it's okay. There's a few different things you can do, and there's a little bit of that here. It's like sometimes you need to get the wife out of the way, whether it's knocking her out or killing her.
Yeah, and that was a little grim. I think I mentioned that to you the first time when I did it, Sean. But like the main character made a little comment like, "There's no going back after this."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
and then
right.
I proceeded with it, and it was so dark when he stabs the wife, the main character. Like the audio, just seeing her bleed out, I was like, "Oh my god, what is going on?"
Oh my god. So that's bad. Did you ever try stabbing yourself with a knife?
Yeah.
That one is terrible. So he chickens out at first.
He doesn't do it.
No, and then if you do it again, he's like, okay. And then he stabs himself like 20 times on the stomach and chest. And I was like, oh my god, what are you doing?
I didn't try it again. I assumed he would just keep chicking it out each time. Did you guys ever shoot yourself?
Yeah, that's bad too.
I don't think so.
So if you shoot yourself, he like doesn't do like I don't know how to.
He fucks it up, and he says something.
So he just bleeds out.
Yeah.
And then when he comes to in the next loop, he's like, I couldn't even do that right.
Yeah, that was super dark too. There's a lot of really dark stuff in there. I find that sort of like darkness really funny. So like I'm okay with a lot of that stuff. But it seems weirdly cavalier, his attitude the first time you kill your wife or like try killing your wife. Like he's not stoked about it, but he's not as upset as maybe he should be about it, in my opinion. I'm guessing that's just because of canned voice lines.
Like, you think there should have been one, like he should have like said like no, like to himself at least once, is what you're thinking?
Anything, any hesitation at all besides there's no turning back, because that sounds like already what he's thinking about is there's no turning back. This is going to get me in trouble, and not I'm about to murder the person I love, which is like the wrong way to look at that situation, I think.
Yeah, and I almost interpreted that as a hint from the game that, it's not gonna, you're not gonna hand her the knife,
Right.
You're gonna kill her.
Right.
So like if you don't want to do that, maybe don't try it again.
Yeah.
So one of the kind of pieces of discourse I've been seeing online in this game, since it came out just after Boyfriend Dungeon, a lot of people were talking about Boyfriend Dungeon should have had, and they did alter their content warning at the beginning, to make it sound more aggressive. What kind of happens in Boyfriend Dungeon? Not that like you're not murdering your wife in Boyfriend Dungeon, but they just felt they needed to kind of make it seem a little more harsher. Okay. And then 12 Minutes came out like a week or so later, and I'm hearing some of the same people discussing it. There's no content warning for 12 Minutes. So I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think there should have been a content warning for this game?
There needs to be a trigger warning on this game, 100%. People should not go into a game thinking, oh, this might be a weird little like home invasion thing, and then have like some terrible version of domestic abuse that could trigger PTSD, or like there should definitely be like, yo, there's some fucked up shit in this. Like, just warning you. Yeah, there should be.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I think there should have been at least something to at least show what's going to be behind this game. Because I think when you first start, you maybe don't know where it's going to be going, and it's going to get that dark. So, I mean, it could definitely get awkward too if you were with someone who had no idea, and then you just suddenly take that turn down that dark lane. And yeah, I think there should have been something up front at least.
And I think it's because of how graphic it can get. Because, like, if you think about, like, Limbo has some really messed up stuff in it, but it's kind of silhouettes, and, like, it's not really in your face. Like, you know what's happening. You know when that spider stabs you in the head or whatever, or you get the brain bug thing that eats your head and controls you or whatever. Like, that stuff is disturbing, but it's a very like a realistic interpretation of you killing your wife and then shooting yourself in the head is fucked up. Whether or not that like turns you off personally, because like that sort of stuff doesn't really bug me. I'm pretty desensitized to it. If I was a different person, that could be like, I don't know, really bad. if they have some bad like triggers with that sort of thing. So there definitely should have been something, or should be something. They could still patch it in.
Yeah, nothing's stopping them.
Yeah.
I feel like if they were going to, they would have by now. I would have heard some people talking about it.
I agree.
It is kind of interesting if we kind of broaden out just the content warning stuff. I feel like video games are like the only medium that where content warnings are like asked for or are deemed like necessary. Like if this was a movie, like a horror movie, you wouldn't want a content warning up front about like the stuff that the protagonist is going to do to get through it. People would say, "Why are you spoiling stuff for me?"
I think you make kind of like the agreement when you go to an R-rated horror movie that you're okay with some messed up stuff. And there have been movies that I felt have gone too far even for an R rating. It's just like there probably should have been a little bit more warning there for that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what comes to mind for some reason is Drive, where that got extremely violent halfway through, and you maybe wouldn't, if you didn't know that, you wouldn't have been expecting something like that. So yeah, I mean, it does seem to just come up more in games than it does with other mediums. But then it gets back to those weird arguments, like, is it the interactivity that makes it feel more extreme?
Yeah.
Which never felt like a good argument for me.
Yeah.
Especially because this one is so separated too from the actions. Like, it's point and click. It's, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, it's different than playing like Manhunt on the Wii. where you have to use the nunchucks and strangle the guy yourself. But no, it's just kind of an interesting thought experiment because like if you saw a content warning in front of an R-rated movie, you would probably be a little confused about that.
Totally. Yep.
Whereas you know, I would acute R to M. That's the closest we're gonna get. So it's like. So if we go kind of with your route, Paul, of you kind of know what you're signing up for, and I would say the same thing about this, but we all agree this should have had a content warning.
Yeah, and I mean there are movies that are like rated R. It's like, well, you shouldn't have been mad in Irreversible when she got raped in the alley and then he got his head beaten into a bloody pulp with a fire extinguisher. Like that also is like, yeah, but it's R. Like you should have known what you were getting into. It's weird, is what I'm saying. Is that, yeah.
I mean, I started playing Doki Doki Literature Club a month or something ago, and that has a very clear content warning on it. And in a weird way, though, in the reverse, I almost felt like that ruined some of the surprise of that game.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, and I knew it was coming at that point. But of course, I'm not the type of person those content warnings are really for.
Right.
So, you know, I'm willing to put up with that.
Right.
I'm seeing people in the chat, they straight up mentioned Doki Doki Literature Club. I think when that game first released, it didn't have any kind of content warning, or it had a very subdued one. And they changed that for the console edition release that you played through. But I even remember, like, if you know, part of the reason I ended up playing it is people were saying like, yo, it gets absolutely crazy with some stuff. So like, it's almost like if I hadn't been warned, I probably wouldn't. It would have just been kind of another visual novel.
Sure.
Right. And I wouldn't have jumped into it with the interest level that I did when I first played it.
Sure.
No, I totally agree. And yeah.
Cool. We should talk about this story because I think this is also like mechanically this game gets a pretty big thumbs down in a lot of ways for me. This story, I think, has some interesting ideas that it flubs along the way a few times. But yeah, so this story is about you play a man who comes home. I think he's known as husband to wife.
Yep.
And there is a home invasion that happens, and then every 12 minutes, or if something happens where your character passes out or dies, the moment you walk into your apartment starts over again. So that's the whole story basically. And you come to find out that the cop, that the guy who does a home invasion is a cop that knew your wife's father at some point, or grandfather, was it? I can't remember. Was it father?
Father. I think you're getting ahead. I think we have to mention a few points.
Okay.
the wife is pregnant.
Yeah, but you don't know
and
that
the
right
cop, well, I feel like you kind of learn that in like the first playthrough is when she, she gives you the present and it's baby clothes.
Oh no, I didn't get the present right away. I didn't get the present ever from her. Actually, I found it.
Sounds like you're a bad husband, brother. And sometimes you just sit down with your wife's sister and have a nice meal that she made dessert for you, man.
No, I started just picking up everything that the game would let me pick up instantly.
Just a normal guy coming home. What's this?
Dude, my first playthrough, I had spoons, candles, well, the fake candles, both cups full with water, the pills, and the cake and picture. Just like it all in my pocket.
Before we continue with the story, Chris, I need you to tell everyone what happened with you in the candles.
Wait, what happened with me in the candles?
And the vents, because you were complaining about that to me over and over again.
Well, I mean, I saw the vents, I saw the candles would go in them.
Yeah.
So I just went to all the vents and I put the candles in them to see them.
Yeah.
Just to see what was in there, and I thought there would be something there.
And there's nothing, I know.
Like, I thought I'd have to hide something there because the cop would take it away from me, and then I would have to pull it out or something, and that was so much wasted time that went nowhere.
Yep, I'm with you.
I mean, now imagine if there was 100 other items that you had to try that with. That would have driven me insane.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so yeah, the wife's pregnant. So the first thing you find out when the cop breaks in is he's looking for a watch, and he's accusing your wife of murdering her father.
Right.
And that's kind of like the first big question you're trying to figure out is like, what is he talking about, and what is this watch?
Yeah.
And you kind of get a bit of clues. Like, she's about to say where the watch is when he kills you the first time, but it cuts out. So your kind of first goal is there's a watch somewhere in this apartment.
Yeah, let's look everywhere now. Yep.
Yeah. I'm curious if you could just get to it immediately, if you just like started up a new game.
Yeah, you can.
Or if it would like block you out.
No, you can. Because you can erase your save file and then go back in. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I had no reason to do that. Right. So I didn't check it, but okay.
I did that 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Why are you erasing your save?
Because I did all the endings. And so you get locked. You have to when you get one ending. So I went back, got the other stuff, and missed like the Easter egg ending where you just stand there doing nothing. So then I reset it and just stood there and did nothing.
Did you do that one, Chris, where you don't touch the controller?
Yeah, I did that one for sure.
That one though, don't you leave the apartment at the end of it?
I think so, yeah.
Aren't you not supposed to be able to do that?
Well, you have the conversation with your wife, and then she tells you about what's going on, I guess. Because the idea... So, we're getting weirdly
well, she says she's going to tell you.
Yeah.
She says she's going to tell you. So she's like, let's go outside on a walk or something. And you're like, okay, cool. And don't you leave successfully?
Yeah. We're getting ahead of ourselves here a little bit. The whole conceit of this game is that this is all happening in your mind as a way for your memory to unlock a hypnotized memory that you don't want to remember. So everything that's happening is fake. So in that ending specifically, since she's going to tell you, there's no reason for your mind to loop because you're about to get the info in the walk, I guess. It's weird because there's also some that don't make sense this way, in that there's one ending where you know what happened, so why would you be still in the loop? Like, I don't know. It's weird and breaks down. The thing is that you find out she did not kill her father. You did, because you are her brother who loves her, and he was against the weird incest thing that's going on here.
Well, let's break it down and go through the story. So you find the watch, and you start asking, what's the deal with the watch? Why do you need it? So I guess the next kind of narrative thread is finding out about why this cop wants the watch so much, and that introduces his daughter.
Yeah.
Daughter has cancer. The watches can sell for some unreasonably high amount of money, and he wants to use that to pay the medical bills for his daughter.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if you give him the watch, he will still punch you to death.
Yep.
Yep.
And he says the line, oh, this is actually important. He says the line, I'm glad you understand why it has to be this way. And that becomes important at the end of the game.
Yeah, true.
So you kind of figure out the thing with the daughter, and then you can kind of start skipping ahead to some stuff where you can now tell your wife about being in the loop because you know about the watch.
Yeah.
And you can also get the cop to listen to you sometimes by talking to the daughter first.
Yeah.
Because you also know about the daughter and what the daughter's going through and stuff like that. I guess the next change would be clearing the wife's name in terms of when he died. And it's like, but I have this photo where it's New Year's and she's in New York.
Yeah.
I think it's New York, right?
Yes. And this whole chunk was definitely the highlight of the game for me. When you're solving that mystery of who killed the dad and then trying to prove that your wife is innocent. Like, that's when the game was at its peak for me, and then it was kind of all downhill from thereafter.
Yeah, pretty much once I had the same thing with that Paul had where it's like, I would like to show you this photo, and he's like, I'm going to look at this fridge and only this fridge and don't even talk to me. And
so
it's like,
dumb.
But I have it right here, sir, please. So I feel like, yeah, that's the highlight, but then it just falls off a cliff in terms of the enjoyment.
Right, and the photo just became part of my rhythm, though, too, where when I was going to do whatever at the start, I would always grab the photo and just immediately hand it to her. And he says something like, oh, you're going to need this later, with no explanation besides
I don't think
that.
I ever did that.
Yeah, I never did that either.
Yeah.
My usual thing was, like, my go-to was like, okay, pick up both the cups.
Yep. Fill one with water.
Turn the light switch on once.
Oh, yeah, and I grabbed the knife every time. I don't think I really
grabbed the knife that often.
I grabbed it every time because I thought for a long time it was the only way to open the vent. With reach, you can open the vent with anything, though. I found out later.
Yeah, the house keys.
Yeah.
I used the keys for the vent every time, never used the knife.
Yeah, I used the knife
Yeah,
every
time.
time.
I grabbed the knife. I grabbed the knife every time at the start, but eventually when I realized I couldn't seem to do anything with it, I just stopped picking that up.
Yeah. True.
At the beginning I was taking it thinking I could fight with it. I could do something to the cop with it of use.
Sure.
No, and it basically turned into like, I'm going to tie the cop up and I'm going to shoot him in the leg and then we're going to actually talk because he's not going to talk to me unless I torture him a little bit. Which is also fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Add that to the list.
It took me like 3 loops to realize, oh, you can aim at a specific part. I don't have to stab him in the torso and get 2 questions out before he dies. I can shoot him in the leg or something.
I didn't realize I had an impact where you stabbed him or shot him. That's interesting.
Yeah, if you can shoot him in the head for an instant kill.
Yeah.
I think I always did the leg with the gun, and I just assumed, okay, the head would kill him, so that's not going to be... And then because the leg worked, I just went with that every single time.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I did
with the knife, I did use it at the very beginning, and then I just switched to the gun at some point, because I don't remember why.
It's kind of fucked up, because you know how, like, he's down on the ground, and usually you just shoot him in the leg and that's fine. The first time he was down on the ground, I used the knife, and he just does like this weird little like slit across his abdomen or something, and it's like super quick, but it's like disturbing.
Yeah.
It's really
I had that same. Up. I don't think I realized he was just going to stab him or like cut him like that either. So it was just like, oh my god.
Right.
Which is really any time there's violence in that game, I have that same reaction apparently.
Yeah.
Which is what it does so well.
It really is, yeah. It is.
So then you find out that he died like on a different day, right? And he was shot twice, and that's how you can kind of catch your wife up really quickly now, is you can talk about that.
Yep.
I forget how you find it. Oh, and so then the word monster comes up somehow. Someone mentions that he said monster. I forget how they tie monster to you.
So when you talk to the cop, you ask more about the dad when he found the dad dying, and he says something about he just said the one last word, monster or whatever. Then you talk to the wife, and she's like, monster, that's what we called my like weird inbred stepson or stepbrother that nobody likes or whatever. And you're like, okay. And then when you find out that you're that dude, that you're a monster or whatever.
Okay, right, yes. Because then your next thing is you find out what the mother's name was, who was the nanny that he was having an affair with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a flower, and then your baby clothes have the word
Dahlia
on it. So then you kind of tie everything together. And at that point, it's like, I had pretty much checked out in this story because now I'm the murderer, but I didn't know any of this.
So I
And I'm
joked
also
about
the brother.
that. I was just like, just watch, we're the stepbrother all along, ooh, or whatever. Then when it turned out to be true, I just couldn't stop laughing. It's like, oh my god.
Well, like I was confused. 'Cause I was thinking like, there's only 3 characters in this game. Like, is
Right.
the cop gonna be the brother? Because he kept
Right.
saying like, oh, he
Exactly.
was close with the father. I was like, okay, and they never even explain how he's close with the father. He's just like, I was really close with him, and it's like, okay, I guess that's the end of that.
I mean, I think the point is it doesn't matter ultimately because it's not real anyways.
Right. It's his
Like,
he
yes.
is the father, which is why in the like real world or the remembered version or whatever, he's the one that you shoot. Your subconscious or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then you go back in time, right? You get the first like flashback
Mhm.
to and it's in that one though, it's the cop is talking to, isn't it?
No, it's the father.
Or is it the father?
It's the father.
The father.
Is it the
It's
father? And
always
then
the
the second
father.
one is the cop.
No, it's always the father. It's just
Well,
one
at
is
one
at
point he
night.
has hair, and the other one he doesn't.
One is at night and one is during the day. The one during the day is the like real version that happens where he hypnotizes you. That's like, I think people are calling it true ending. It has the name in the achievement thing, but that's true ending. The other ending is still like you remembering that night and like killing the father or whatever.
Right. Okay. And then okay, I can't remember what the last chunk of the game is at that point.
So, okay. When you get to that part, you can kind of choose how your game's going to end. If you choose that, like, we can't do this, I'm going to, like, leave her or whatever, or, like, ignore her. And he's like, yeah, that's for the best. You start the game over again, but this time there's nobody in the apartment, and you get the alone ending that you can only get out of when you pick up the watch and turn it back to the right time, which I didn't know what the right time was, so I thought I was locked in there, which is why I restarted.
I was also very confused. I had to ask Chris. I was like, "Is there something to do in this scenario?"
I thought it was 5 minutes before 12, and it's 2 minutes before 12. I was really annoyed.
It's 2 minutes, and then I think the loop is 10 minutes. I think that's the 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not 12-minute loop. It's 2 minutes back, and then the 10-minute of the loop.
Right, yeah. So then if you do that, you go back again. It's a little convoluted, but you have to have talked to the wife at some point during your game when she's reading the book and asked her about the book, and she tells you a line from the book, which you can then interact with the book in that final scene that's on the shelf, and he's like, oh, you've read that, have you, or whatever, and that basically like unlocks the ability to get the final scene where you can just sit there and wait for him to just like help you, which is essentially locking your love memories for your sister away. Yeah. I don't know.
Do you know what happens if you never talk about the book? Because I had talked about the book, so I just got that.
I don't.
think you just get the options.
Yeah.
Like where you can say it again.
Oh, yeah, you get the option. So if you say, you get stuck in the loop of you can either say, no, I love her, and you will always go back into the loop again, or you can do the, like, yeah, I'll leave forever or whatever, and then you get the alone ending where you're stuck alone forever.
So you can't see credits then.
You don't get true ending. You get credits in the alone ending the first time. Like, what happens is you make that decision, and he's like, yeah, this is for the best for everyone, blah, blah, blah. Credits happen, and then it's kind of like the after credits. When the game starts up again, you're alone, and you're stuck in that until you do the other thing.
Okay. I'd forgotten about that. Okay.
Yeah, because I almost didn't start it up again. And I was like, let me see if I can get any achievements, and hit continue. I was like, oh my god, what is going on now? This is different.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize it was different until I walked in as well, actually.
Which was a nice little surprise to see that the game just wasn't quite over yet.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
I think if it comes down to being hypnotized, you lose some points in how much I like your story.
Yeah, as a weird, like, mental MacGuffin for why the story's even happening in the first place.
Yeah, like why is there a mystery at all?
I think it's a really cool idea and way. I don't know. I think there's a lot of pretentiousness in this story that I kind of feel like they're really going for an old boy sort of thing. And I'm not going to talk about that ending because that's a spoiler. But it's somewhat related to some stuff they do here. And I think they were going for the like shock value old boy type ending thing in a video game. I got a lot of very similar vibes there.
Yeah, I can definitely understand where you're coming from there with that specific twist.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like a lot of this game just feels a little old or outdated now, and I don't think this is a plot you would come up with today necessarily.
That's true.
Especially with just how you treat the wife too. Like, she is basically, I don't know, an object to enact your loop with. Like, she's not a person. And I think that's maybe a little bit of a negative knock against this game, is that, yeah, like the one woman in the game is basically treated like shit.
I mean, the cops treated like shit too. I feel like it's just emphasized because of the loop structure.
I mean, I was hoping there would be an opportunity to kind of bring her in on it. And you can, like, get her up to speed on what's going on, but you don't orchestrate a plan with her. You know, you don't figure something out you can do together. I mean, it's just his, I don't know, his object of affection.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's a weird one. I like to tell people, like, if they liked the first half of this, like, go play 999. Go play the VLR games. Like, those are the ones that give you the flow chart. They do it right. The story pays off. They are much longer. They're not on Game Pass, so there's an investment there. But like, if you want to see like the best version of these kind of like loops where you can bounce around and take the nugget of info you got from here and use it there, that's the series you should be playing.
Hideo Kojima loves this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him tweeting so much about it.
He loves it. He says it inspired him to make another adventure game, and he hasn't been into a game this much since Inside, which is also a weird game to be really into, but okay.
I didn't see that. That's interesting. I feel like at some point, though, if you make like enough movie references, Kojima's gonna like it.
Yep, totally.
Like, he probably came out of the elevator, saw the carpet, and he was like, "Fuck, that's good. Hell yeah." Where's my phone? I gotta tweet some shit.
I mean, even just the way the doors open of the elevator reminded me of Eraserhead. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that, but just like I don't know, the apartment, the hallway, it just kind of gave me that vibe too, on top of the floor from The Shining. Like, I think there's some solid references in there.
Yeah, there's a very Lynch feeling, a lot of the way. Definitely, you can see Kubrick, like, in this so much for sure too. Yeah, I agree.
This is just kind of off topic. Do you guys remember there's that Vertigo game coming out?
Oh god.
Oh, that's right.
And that just popped into my head.
Not based on the movie Vertigo.
Oh, is it not? I thought it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I thought it was Hitchcockian, but it isn't following the plot of the movie.
I don't remember.
Someone fact check me on that.
It's called Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo.
Oh, I know. That's why it made me so shocked. I swear. But I have a Vertigo poster on the other side of this wall. I love that movie. I think this is a bad idea, but I'm absolutely going to play it.
Oh my god, you're right. It's loosely based on the films of Alfred Hitchcock, particularly Vertigo. What the fuck?
Now I'm actually kind of more interested in what this thing is.
I guess that's why it's called Alfred Hitchcock - Vertigo, because it's actually a game about Alfred Hitchcock's movies.
Okay,
weird.
Sure.
All right. That's this year, apparently, still, so.
Ooh.
December. We'll see.
Just something random I saw while flipping through Wikipedia for this game earlier was just the fact that, I guess initially it was going to be a whole neighborhood, and then he realized that was just a daunting project and had to shrink it down to a single apartment.
And it was going to be a day in that neighborhood as well, a 24-hour period.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been interesting, but
totally, yeah.
I thought for the longest time I'd be able to like interact with the other doors in the hallway.
Yeah, me too.
And there's like a cat or a dog or something like that that you can hear, and I thought, oh, that's going to come into it at some point.
And the baby and the other one crying or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they probably do. Like, remember how I was saying that he said that like he wanted the player to have to like listen and like kind of mark down in their mind when cues happen. I bet that baby cries at the exact time you can do a thing, and I just never put it together because I was too busy on the hunt for shit to do.
Yeah. I mean, you never really need to. There's pretty much
Right.
only like one moment you really need to like be cognizant of, and it's when the cop arrives.
Yep.
Because it's pretty much this game takes place before the cop is here and then after the cop is here.
Yeah.
You just need to make sure the dominoes are lined up where you want them to be.
how long did you make the wife wait for the thunder? Because that got awkward at a moment. Did you guys do that to prove you're in the time loop?
Yeah. So a lot of the times it was almost like immediately after I said it, except one time I did it really early, and I just stood there for like actually 2 minutes. Just like, any time now, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it was just so funny. Just like, you're just standing there, her staring at you as you wait for this to start.
And you can't do anything else.
From the future.
You're stuck doing it, yeah.
All right. Well, again, yeah, closing thoughts. Good concept, bad execution. I don't think you should play more than 2 hours of this game.
I think it's okay, and I think if you know what you're getting into, you might enjoy it, but it's a frustrating experience. The plot is bad in a goofy way, but I think there's something here. There's just a smidge of excellence that it was so close to achieving, and then it just fell flat on its face.
So, Psychonauts 2 and Hades and these are all things you can get on Game Pass. Get Game Pass, and you can play this for essentially free while you get access to amazing games. It's fine.
That's true. It's $25, or you can have like 2 months of Game Pass Ultimate
For like a
and
buck.
Access to over 100 games.
Yeah.
As someone who has recently played hundreds of hours, probably, of Hades, I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah, exactly. Get Game Pass for Hades. Play 12 minutes in between runs.
You know what? I did the opposite. I would get so pissed off at 12 minutes, I would
Hades.
quit it and start playing Hades.
Yep. Yep. For sure. I'm going to just exactly echo what we said, or what Chris said at the very beginning. I give this a thumbs up, but I don't recommend people play it unless it's like for free on Game Pass, essentially.
It's hard, like, cause like I play like a lot of like visual novels and stuff, and they just do this thing so much better.
Yeah.
Telling the story with these and whatnot, so it's just really hard for me to recommend this in any kind of way.
Sure.
All right, well, hey, thanks for listening to this. If you made it this way through and didn't play the game, that actually might be for the best.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion.
A more cohesive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though we were like jumping around topics.
More entertaining
yeah,
too.
That's for sure.
If I say so.
Hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yes, thanks for being here to talk about it. You too, Paul. Thanks for being here and talking about it.
Oh, hey, no problem. That's what I do.
Yeah. And stay tuned for later this week, and we'll do a normal episode. But bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.